number 17 in a newer conversation. Since 2015, we've been doing In Search of Awesome. And I think we're up to just under 260 or so interviews. But tonight, we are celebrating our 17th interview, In Search of Behind the Chair Millionaire. People on that trajectory, and this is our 17th interview. And so inside of this conversation, of course, we're always going to be talking about blowing your income up from behind the chair, but this one adds something to it called how am I using my income and managing in a way, managing my debt, paying down my debt, saving some money, so that inside of the first half of my career, I can be financially independent. I can be a millionaire. And not only is that possible, we're turning it into best practices, and you're here tonight to have that conversation with us. My guest, Samon Mahas, we're going to tell you about her. She's been on, having conversations with me for a couple of years now. She is behind the chair, 6 figures. She's going to crack a 6-figure W-2 this year. I just was talking to her fearless leader and the founder, Don Panfil at Hair Solutions. Coach is Sally Manavon. So Samon is, now that she's on 6-figure W-2, she's been on a 7-figure savings and investment plan since I think 3 or 4 years ago when Dawn launched a 401k. And we'll get her talking a little bit about that tonight, as well as, while I have her here, she's a Jedi behind the chair. So I'm going to see if she'll tip her hand a little bit and tell us what she's up to in terms of making money. Her fearless leader is telling me that she's just crushing it on retail. I think her typical, she's been averaging like, what is it, 500? I mean, I just kind of figured this out today. I'll find it for you, but it's like a few $100. In commissions, not retail sales. She's averaging like $500+ a month in retail commissionable income. That's like half a house payment, for goodness sake. So she's got to be doing something extraordinary with that, and we'll get her chatting about it. Let me give you a little bit of background on why I invited her here tonight. Flip to 30-something. So very, very, we'll call her for sure either a senior zennial, right, or a very young millennial. And her income trajectory has been phenomenal. So in 2018, when she came back from being an educator, 32 to 77, that's a double. Held her own in 2020. I think she told me she was shut down, Salon was shut down 2 or 3 months, but held her own. So, I mean, you start doing the math on that probably was trending 6 figures last year as we were navigating COVID. She is going to crack, if the next 6 months, 7 months go like the last 5, she'll crack 110 on W-2. So this is an unprecedented year for her. As well. But no, wait, there's more. Since saving some money and really investing in the Salon's 401k plan, she's also she's got a 6-figure net worth, $110,000 in a 401k, and her and I were chatting earlier, and a couple of days ago, and I did with my Golden Goose compound interest app. We have her cracking $1 million either, it could be as soon as the back end of 30-something, no later than the front end of 40-something. So she is on an amazing trajectory. And with regard to her debt, she purchased a home not long ago. So she's got a mortgage payment on that, has a car payment, keeps all of her credit cards at 0 balance. So as she uses them during the months, pays them off. So really, really just a great model, case study to have the conversation that we're having tonight. So she's in my green room. I'm going to get her, and then her and I will chat and see what she's up to. And I think you're going to enjoy the conversation. So There she is here. We're going to unmute my friend Samon, and then you're going to give it up for her to make her feel welcome, you guys. Hi, Samon. Thank you for coming in. Were you off today? Did you work?
I was working till 2.
I really appreciate you giving us a few minutes tonight of your life, and I always enjoy your style and how you roll. So thanks for coming in and sharing some of your secret sauce.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, I want to get started. As you know, you and I were chatting before, and I said that there's really kind of 4 ideas that are kind of based in the conversation of growing the income, saving some money, paying down debt, and spending less than you make so that you have the money to do all that and then some. But I want to get started. Have you catch us up. You've always just been a Jedi at what been doing behind the chair in growing a clientele and keeping it state of the art. I had you on a few months ago as a guest on some Zoominars. So what are you doing latest, greatest behind the chair that you're really excited about?
I think I'm just doing really what my client wants. I started realizing that I needed to just book more time for my clients, and I'm realizing that your clients want more of your time.
Yeah.
They're really looking for that one-on-one, like, human contact after COVID.
Yeah.
So I give more to my clients, and in the end, it's a higher ticket for me because I'm taking care of them in the best way.
And then I remember when I had you on last time, you were really stoked about the salon had just launched a new point of sale, and online booking was. And are you still doing that? And like, what's the latest, greatest state of the union with regard to how that's working for you?
Yeah, online booking has gotten so much better. We got everything down on like how it's booked and everything. And of course, the virtual or digital consultations are a huge must, like a must. If you don't do that, you have no idea what this client wants or what their hair looks like or anything. So those have been a huge help, and I'm still getting tons of people doing the online booking. And well, it's also just
you are an innovator with online booking, because the overwhelming majority of people in the salon today are still looking, and they haven't jumped into the pool yet because it's very overwhelming. And in fairness to them, and I don't know what your experience has been, but just the online booking platform, for some clients, it's difficult. It's intimidating, depending on what platform you're using. Has it been pretty easy or seamless for you to either teach your clients or to encourage them to use it? I see you nodding your head. What's that been like?
I mean, all of my clients have like expressed how easy it is. We use Mevo too.
Yes.
So they have an app for online booking and like a in-salon system, but I haven't had any complaints.
So out of, let's say, on a typical week, if whatever number of clients you are serving, how many of them are booking using the online booking feature? I know that a lot of them are pre-booked already, but right. The ones that aren't, how many of them how many clients a week would use the online booking service?
A week, like for me personally, I would estimate about 15%.
So they're loving it. Do you have any clients using it, like when they're in your chair and they're setting up they're like pre-booking themselves while they're in your chair?
Yes, and I have they love it. They're just so conditioned, and I'll have them process. And sometimes when I'm at the checkout and I'm saying, "Oh, we need to make your next appointment," they're like, "Oh, I already made it." Like they already did it online.
Wow.
Yeah, my clients are liking it.
I have to buy your life for about 3 or 4 weeks and take you with me wherever I'm going online, because I'm telling you, people are not having the experience that you're having them. Now, do you find yourself doing any kind of teaching, either when they're on your chair on how to use it, or are you doing any DMing where you're helping some of some clients are just not as digital as other clients. So you got to do a little bit more hand holding. Are you having any of that experience?
Yeah, I don't really have too much troubles when they're booking, but I do when I'm doing like a consultation virtually. I explain to them, I give them the link, so all they have to do is click on it, and I tell them what service to book for, and that's pretty much it. I say usually if you have any questions, just reach out, and most of the time, none of them have questions. So
Oh wow. And now that you have clients rebooking themselves, whether they're in the chair or whatever, is that count as a pre-book so that if because pre-books is still so if, I see you nodding your head. If my client books themselves, that's counted towards a traditional pre-book.
yeah, yep,
Oh wow, big, big, big. And then the other thing that you were up to was you were one of the pioneers in doing whether you want to call it digital consultation or virtual consultation. You were one of the first to kind of get that cooking. Are you? Is that still? It sounds like that's still a very big part of your chairside manner.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when I'm, I probably have interviewed 20 people since I've talked to you last on it, and I'm seeing it's all over the board. It could be something as simple as texting. I mean, they're not even DMing, right? So
Right.
you and your guest are texting each other, sending content back and forth to each other, and basically the 100% of the communication, we'll call it the consultation, is happening on a mobile device on a texting feature. So
Yeah.
are you doing some of that as well?
Yep. Yeah. And like Instagram messages, Facebook messages, things like that as well.
I'm hearing that people are showing up more committed for more services when you do a pre-visit digital consultation. So you don't have to, and it's almost like change the nature of the traditional consultation. You don't have to spend as much time because all of that just got handled before they showed up.
Yeah. And to touch on that too, like with our online booking, once you book a color or a haircut, we have a pop-up that comes up and it'll ask, do you want any additional add-on services? So it'll list like deep conditioning treatment, eyebrow wax, things like that. And I'm finding that almost every single client that books online at least adds a deep conditioning treatment.
Oh wow! And that just the program, the computer is programmed to ask them that, and that the overwhelming majority of clients are taking the offer to heart and actually. So there's add-ons that are happening for you from features on your online booking.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you had to, I am, you know me, I'm always trying to get a percentage. And I would bet that now Hair Solutions has got to have at least 30 to 40% of their clients using online booking. Am I close?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that. Mm-hmm.
Has that changed things up for people at the front desk? I mean, because people at the front desk, that's a big part of what they do. So now they don't have to devote as much energy to that. So they got to be loving that.
Yeah, they do.
Do you have to watch no shows, or are people pretty loyal that once they book, they're showing up for their time?
They're usually pretty loyal, and we do have a cancellation policy that also will show up in the online booking. So our system also captures a credit card, and then they have to agree to the cancellation policy. So I think once they see all that, knowing that their card is on file as well, I haven't really had any no-shows for that.
Wow. And so so when somebody does use the online booking feature, they're guaranteeing the appointment with a credit card.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that new clients are different than repeat clients, so you're saying now that the majority of your repeat clients that don't get pre-booked by somebody else are using the online booking feature.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I'm going to call you like digital Jedi on steroids because I'm telling you, Samon, I mean, you work at Hair Solutions, but wherever I go, the overwhelming majority of the people are where they were with regard before COVID, that there's not a lot of online booking, and some of them are kind of wading into the pool, but you're like diving, doing triple Lindy's off of the high board on online booking, so it's amazing. The other thing I want to get you talking about is Dawn, probably, Dawn Panfield, the owners, said you're doing something is happening on your retail where your income, personal income a month in retail is around $500-600. What are you doing?
I just educated my clients on all the products. And the biggest thing that's really helped me, that I've been doing for a few years, and when I focus on doing this, I see that my retail numbers are really high. I essentially do the shopping for my client. So while they're processing or anything, I determine what they need. I'll look at their history to see what they might need to stock up on. And I have little baskets. I'll put all their products in the basket and I'll set them in front of them. And that way they can kind of like ponder on it. They know that the retail like talk is coming. There's not anything sprung on them last minute while I'm walking them up to the front. And it's also easier for our front desk. So if I just hand the whole basket to our front desk and say like, these are the items they're thinking about, if she wants to take any of them.
Wow. So I loved how you said that. I'll do the shopping for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So while you're processing, and I'll look up in your records and to see what your history is, and I'll put together an ensemble that I think would, and then you look at it, and if it's great. If you want to make some, pivots, great. But that's now become kind of part of your chairside manner, and that's built. When I'm doing, that's like you're doing like $6-7 grand a year in retail income.
Yeah.
Dawn just said, we use small wire shopping baskets, and this works very well. She just was keying in on my dashboard. So she's watching tonight big time. I want to ask you another question. And Samon's waving, Dawn, so you can go ahead and wave back to Samon. The other thing I'm curious about is, do you think there's any connection between the pre-visit virtual consultations you're doing and clients buying more retail? Do you see, is there any connection there, or is most of it what you've said about doing the shopping for them?
I do feel like some of the online bookers are more inclined to spend more on retail. I guess I don't know what it is. I try to like put myself in their shoes and like think about, okay, if I'm on my phone and I'm actually putting my credit card into something, and I'm actually picking a date and solidifying a date and a time, I guess in my mind, I would be ready to spend. So, sometimes like if you put things in, you're like, oh, take them out of your cart. It's when they actually make the purchase, I feel like their brain is already like inclined to spend more money.
So the idea that the credit card has already been taken before they show up, so it's all handled. At the end, there really is not really a checkout. It's done.
Yeah.
Right. Here's your bag, and you're rebooked, and so there isn't that traditional buying anxiety at the front, like should I or shouldn't I, because it's already kind of prepaid.
Right.
Oh wow.
We tell them what our starting prices are.
Yeah.
So they also have an idea like, okay, well, I do plan to at least spend this much money. So they get to sit on that for a few weeks while they're waiting for their appointment to come up, knowing how much money they're going to spend.
Yeah.
So budget to spend a bit more for retail or add-ons.
Just a conversation we're having right now. The card, Randy Kunkel said, the card's on file. So there is something about that takes that traditional buying anxiety away, and so it's gracious, it's comfortable, and as a result, people are getting more involved in your service. They're getting more involved in your retail. That's good for them, and of course, it's good for you. Well, I want to spend a few minutes. I want to pivot a little bit. Talk to me about your spin on the salon's 401k, and and you see, I've interviewed now 3 or 4 of your your homies on this, and now you're like they should start a new club there called the Six Figure 401k Plan Club, because you've got over $100,000 in your account. So what's that about?
Yeah. Well, when you told me the other day, I was actually shocked. I honestly I didn't even know that much money was in there. And that's kind of just like when Dawn presented the 401k to us years ago, it was a no brainer. There really wasn't any question why I would not want to save money. So I signed up, and you get to log on and kind of see where your money is at. Well, if anyone knows me, I lose all my logins and my passwords. So it's just been accumulating, but I kind of like that, it's just money I'm saving that I'm not really like, I don't have a plan to fall back on it and use it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, what's interesting about it is, like you said, you kind of forget about it. Like you get, you get things set up on the front end, and then you just know that there's X amount of money that kind of automatically comes out of your check and goes into your 401k. You forget about it, and all of a sudden one day you kind of remember to take a look, and it's been a while since the last time you looked at it, and you look at not only how much you put in, how much the salon's put in, but how much it's grown, and it kind of blows the sides off of your brain box.
yeah.
And then you and I were chatting a couple of days ago, and I was screwing around on my mobile, on my that Golden Goose Calc, and it said, like, if you stay on the rhythm that you're on, you're gonna cross over from 6 figures to 7 figures, like in late 30 something, front end of 40 something.
Yeah.
What, like, when you hear that, like, what goes off in your brain?
It's weird. I don't even know how to describe it. Because I know I was talking with you, Michael, that I didn't really come from a wealthy family, and I really had to like do a lot to get to where I am. And it's, I've had a lot of help along the way, but mainly it was, me just trying to get somewhere better than where my family was.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you and I have had some very, personal. It's not secret, but it's private, and we both come from very modest means. So scarcity, and yeah, we're in a consciousness now that's it's almost opposite. So I don't know about you, but I had to kind of like unlearn whatever it is we learned about money when we're coming from that system, and then as we're getting a life, kind of embrace a whole new, like, I don't know, framework or whatever. And here you are, like, I didn't get started, I don't know if I told you this, until I was well into I think I was like 35, 36. So you got me beat. You actually, you probably got about 8, 9 years on me. So, and I know as 60 something, how much that's grown. So this is a big conversation.
yeah.
I want to ask you one last thing before I let you go, and that is, there's a whole bunch of people watching tonight and listening, and they're kind of looking at you, relating to you. I had a lot of your people that follow you. They knew you were going to be with me tonight and said that they were looking forward to it. So, but they're not where you're at with regard to the second conversation that we're having. Whether they're making a lot of money or not, they're not on a 401. They're not, saving is not a rhythm in their life, and they're hearing this maybe for the first time, and it's kind of opening their mind a little bit. But like I know, we know, you got to kind of like unlearn how we were handling money before. Because I spent, before I kind of woke up, I was spending money I really didn't have, and I didn't have money to save. So they're wondering, gee, if I did what she is doing, could I be in the place that she's being? What might you say to them to kind of like help them to wake up and pivot like you pivoted?
So I think just on the saving part, because I was never really a big saver, and if your salon company doesn't offer a 401k, the other way that I save money is all of my tips go into a savings account. So I've racked up $11,000 since November, just in tips. So if you don't have the 401k, like just putting your tips away is like a huge savings.
Yeah, yeah. So in addition to 401, you've got a kind of a sidebar saving for gratuity. And then you and I were chatting a little
Yeah.
bit. You run at a zero sum balance on your credit cards. So you use credit cards, but at the end of the month, you cash them all out. So you're not carrying credit card debt. And I said to you, have you always been this way? And you said no. Once upon a time, I did what everybody does, and you got these balances, and you're paying these high interest. When did you pivot from that to handling your credit cards the way you're doing it now?
So if I'm honest, it was actually after I got divorced. Through my divorce, I had a lot of debt to pay off in credit cards,
Yes.
because me and my ex racked up a lot of money together. And that was one of the things when we split, that our debt was split. So I had a lot of debt to pay off all on my own, even though I wasn't the only one racking it up. So once, my biggest thing was to just pay that off. And as soon as that was paid off, I told myself I would never have any credit card debt ever. And like my biggest goal in life is to pay off debt and keep my credit score high.
Yes.
So that was when I kind of like woke up, like, I don't want to live like this. It's a lot of stress to have all that debt.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I didn't have that part of your story. So this is like, okay. Well, in crisis, whatever the crises are, kind of wake us up, kind of shock us awake, cause us to take pause, reflect, to go, okay, like you said, I don't want to roll this way anymore. And there's something about those definable moments when we're walking through a big life change. We're saying, okay, if this is going to be a fresh start, I'm going to do this different. So today, that part of your life is very different. It's very, I use them. I use them intentionally, but I pay them off so that I don't have debt.
Yeah, I just use it to get like frequent flyer points.
Yeah, I'm same way.
Yeah.
Delta hates us because we just use cards to get points. But I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. So listen, I mean, I could talk to you forever, and I know that you've got a lot cooking tonight. Promise me that you'll continue to come back for an encore, because I think like you're 30, and you're not even halfway through a career as a hairdresser, let alone an educator. So I think you're just, you're going to continue to warm up. So promise me you'll do that.
Yeah, I would love that.
And then I'm doing just a ton of private Zooms for Redken now. About this conversation about really making a lot but doing more intelligent things with what you're making. Last year I think I had you on as a surprise guest on a couple of them, but to get you talking about this, yeah. Would you consider doing that for me too?
Yeah, I would love to.
All right. Well, listen, my friend, I really appreciate you coming on, and say hi to my rest of my friends at Hair Solutions. And I think you were telling me you were watching a couple of their interviews, and it inspired you to max out your what you can save on 401.
Yeah, because like I said, I kind of forgot about it, and I was like, wait, I'll probably be making more money.
Yeah. So, well, and you can go up to 15%. So 15% of 100,000 is 15 grand, but 15% of 150,000, and my hunch is you're about 2 years away from that, is like 100 is like 23,000. So it matters. It matters. All right, listen. Thanks a lot for hanging out. We're going to give it up for you one more time before we let you go, and say hi to all my buds.
I will.
All right, stay well.
Bye.
Bye. I love the interview. First of all, I love her. I love her energy. You know, but back a couple of years ago, we would say unicorn. I don't know if that we use that vernacular anymore, but there's almost a mystique there. But there's a grace, there's a calm in her walk, and she really is. I would say a poster child for what's possible when you kind of wake up and get it together. I mean, I thought it was interesting when she was saying, there was this personal life change I had to walk through. I had to, kind of close the books, give closure to a part of my life called, the ending of a marriage. And then to unpack that, there is lots of debt. And so, that kind of woke her up and said, okay, I want to clean that up. And as I begin the next chapter of my life, I know that I don't want to be that way anymore. I want to be so, and I'll tell you, crisis is a blessing in disguise in that way, because it really does, cause us to pivot well. So she, again, she's the poster child. Like she's going to knock down 6 figures this year. You really need to get to a 6-figure income if you're going to become a millionaire by the first half of your career. If you don't get to 6 figures, you can still get to being a millionaire. It's just going to take you another 10 years. So if you're saying, look, I'd like to get this thing handled in the first half of my career, so that the second half of my career, I'm just going to have options available to me that, frankly, a lot of people don't have at the back end of their career. So 6 figures would be I would just call it a must-have. And then it's paying herself first. I think now she's up to about $15,000 a year that goes into her 401k. Of that, the salon picks up about $3,000 of that, I believe. I'm going to do the math, but I think I'm close. Where 12 is hers, 3 because Dawn Panfill at Hair Solutions has a matching, has a percent match. But when she gets to 125,000 in income, 15% of that is going to be higher. So as she grows her income, she's going to grow her savings, and that's what's going to get her to the promised land, if you will, the land of milk and honey in less time. The other is, while she's saving, she nuked all of her debt. So she's debt free. I mean, she's got a house payment, I think a car payment, but with regard to credit cards, she says, I use them because I want the miles, but she pays them off at the end of the month. And then you need to, as you're growing income, you need to spend less than you're making so that you have the money, the fuel, to do 2 things at the same time: build your savings and pay off debt. So what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful conversation that we had with Samon tonight. I think I want to give it up for her one more time because she just did a magnificent job. Listen, we are, this conversation is powered by Salon Emotion L'Oreal. All of this comes to you not free, but compliments of them because of your commitment to the brands. Like Hair Solutions, very, very, very committed to L'Oreal Professional Products division, and they're partners, if you will, like strategic partners. So to the degree that you support their brands, they're in a position to support us to bring this to you. So it's one of those things where it's a good of all and the harm of none. And I just love their brands. You've got Matrix, Biolage, Mazzani, Essie, Pulp Riot, Kerastase, Pureology, L'Oreal Professional, Redken, and of course, Shoe. So thank you again, Salon Emotion. This was a wonderful conversation. I was very inspired by it. I'm going to, it'll live on the page. We will edit down a cleaner version of it, and it'll be on not only this page, but the YouTube page as well. Michael Cole Summit YouTube. And then we will do a kind of a cooked down version. We call them micro learnings. We'll probably have a 5 to 10 minute micro learning on kind of the highlights of our conversation. I absolutely loved the first part, how she's growing her income. So we'll do that. And then I really, she had some really cool golden nuggets around what she's doing with her 401k and paying off debt as well. So it's going to be an amazing micro learning. So stay tuned for that. Listen, it's been a good evening with you. I'm going to let you get back to it. Love you lots. Hang out with us on this channel. We're also now on Clubhouse every Sunday hosting a conversation, as well as some Mondays we'll do lives here as well. I'm doing a very big program for Redken coming up in a couple of weeks. It's called Who Moved My Shears? And guess what? It's compliments Redken. It's a $200 webinar, compliments Redken. So this is not going to require, I would sign up for that like ASAP. Then a couple of weeks after that, we're going to do another expanded version of that. I just got the flyer today. They haven't posted it yet, but I love what they're calling it. What is it? Reimagining your salon to grow a behind the chair millionaire. So growing millionaires for a living. That's going to be 4 2-hour webinars. And again, that's compliments of L'Oreal PPD. So they're each one of those meetings are $200. So you're getting about $800 of education. Compliments them. So I love their style. Dawn Panfill said that she's thanking us, and also I want to mention that Samon was saying she's I don't know what that tip figure was, but it was something like 13-14 grand a year in tips. That in large in part because they use Tippy. So Tippy is the digital tool that's used at Hair Solutions, and then Samon's portion, what she gets in tips, are automatically deposited to her savings account, so she never sees them. It's one of those, what I don't see, I don't miss. So if you're not on the Tippy platform, I can't encourage you enough to get on that because it's very, very big. And Samon is one of many people that are using that to build her wealth. So I love the evolution of the beauty industry these days. I think since COVID, the silver lining in the COVID cloud is it evolved the salon industry, the beauty business, probably 10 years in 365 days. I mean, it was 2020, we all know, it was excruciating. There was a lot of drama and trauma and disruption in it. However, what it made of us and how it changed the industry, I think that's the silver lining in the cloud. So, I love how it works. And so stay tuned. Love you all. I'm going to let you get back to your supper, and I'll see you on campus.